morning, mommy.
Good morning, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm good. You look so pretty.
Oh, thank you. I decided I put on some lipstick. I don't know the last time I've done that with all our masks and stuff like that. It's like, what's the point?
I get it. I get
Yep.
it. I get it. Um, so I'm excited. I started Good Tea and Jam because I wanted to begin to like work on my femininity. And I feel like asking questions of other females in a setting that's really just like a one-on-one has really helped me figure out what parts of femininity that I want to highlight, what parts of femininity that I could use some wisdom for and skip over, like, different things like that. So I feel like this also could be helpful to other women because, we're all ladies having to live. Is that work?
It does. It
No, I'm saying,
does.
is that work? Do you need to answer?
Uh, I don't know. I didn't recognize the number, and so I sent them a can't talk right now. And if they're real, they'll respond and all that kind of stuff. And now I've turned it to silent, which is where it should have been in the beginning.
It's all right. It's all right. Okay, well then let's get started.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Good Tea and Jam. I'm super excited because we have the most special guest today. This is my mommy. So in talking about good tea, everybody talks about, oh, let me tell you the tea girl, da 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 da, and it's usually gossip or bad stuff about other people. So I wanted to rebrand tea as good tea, the things that we can learn and teach each other and really just pass on. So just as a starter question, like, what is femininity to you, mommy?
Well, it's definitely, uh, I think, connected to your image
Mm-hmm.
of who you are as a woman. And I think that it is a lot of things. I mean, I don't think it's one particular way,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it certainly, I think, has undertones of nurturing and caring and inclusion and things like that. So to me, all of the mothering or supportive kind of things can come from that
Mm-hmm.
that well of femininity.
Right. Well, when you go out into the world, because I always remember, you dressing up really nice and going up to work. And, I've always known that my mama runs things. You're a pathologist, but you own the pathology place, the hospital uses. That's been my. How do you balance the being a successful work woman with being a successful like woman who like is submissive in some roles but is also like taking charge in other roles? How do you balance that within yourself?
Yeah, that's a really tough question, and sometimes you're in it and don't even realize that it's happening. And you're right, at work, um, it's just pretty clear
Mhm.
that what you say is what happens, and that the other people are looking to you to make the decision.
Mhm.
So that stuff is clear at work. And and early on when you all were little, I remember a couple of times coming home and feeling like a disconnect because at work I'm like, okay, do this, do that, whatever. I'm not thinking about um, how being direct may make somebody feel,
Mhm. Mhm.
or any of those kind of, it's about the patient on the other end of the specimen. And so everybody is focused on doing the best job for them. And
Mhm.
so at home, sometimes I may say something and my husband is maybe used to me, uh, you know, suggesting or coming around or, saying, this is what I would like to do. What do you think? I mean, so, and those are, when you're working together as a couple, those to me are things it should be, that's okay. It's not like that's not right. It's just that it's such a different role than what you've been used to 8, 9 hours a day. And then you come home and have to make that shift. And it's like, ooh. So but we made it work. And then I think that just in general, uh, and this to me is a lot about communication. So just in general, instead of all of this back stuff, what do you think or whatever, just try to speak clearly and plainly. And hopefully, in all your relationships, there's enough collateral that if you come off sideways or something like that, that you can go back and fix it. Because the thing is, in a relationship, there's supposed. This is my personal opinion. The relationship should be strong enough that I'm not out to get you. I'm not trying to undermine you. We're in this together, and so you shouldn't even have those thoughts, because I don't have those thoughts. When I'm just trying to get whatever it is done. So I don't know if that's helpful, but that's been my experience.
All right. Every experience, I believe, can be helpful. It just depends on how good of a listener you are to what is helpful to you in your moment. Like, because what I got from that was communication. Because I don't have a 9 to 5 to go to where I can point and tell people what to do. I have a 9 to 5 where me and Kylan talk about what we're going to do.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
mean, but that, so I don't have the dynamic of having to switch, but I definitely have the dynamic of having to be both. You have to be in charge at some points, and sometimes you have to be going along with what's happening. And so communication is definitely what I heard from that. When communicating yourself, like, how do you know what is truth for you to speak, and what is what you'd like to say without all the stuff in the back?
Yeah, I think you consciously have to silence that stuff, because it can come up on you when you're not even thinking about it. You get ready to talk and you're like, oh, maybe they might take it this way, so that's that inside self-talk. Um, but I think when that happens, um, I think I just try to be clear about what it is. And so your question is, how do I know it's true, or true for me?
Yeah.
Um, so uh okay, so some people call it conscious. I'm a Christian, so I have the Holy Spirit,
Mhm.
and sometimes he'll check me, like, is that you, or is that me?
Hmm.
Um, and depending upon how open I am, it'll be revealed whether that's me, or whether I really am thinking about the good of, the whole situation, or whether I'm just trying to be seen in a better light, or, some of the other things that we do. I mean,
Right.
just things that we do.
Right. I think it's interesting that you said seen in a certain way, because I have noticed that a lot of what I do is for the appearance of something. And I
Mhm.
do think that was a lot of, being the pastor's child. You're on display, handle yourself, everybody's watching you. So some of that. But how do you decide for yourself what image you want to display versus what image you think you are displaying based on like other people's thoughts? Like, how do you do
Uh,
that?
yeah, now this question I have thought about a lot, because, like you say, growing up, and we're, your dad being pastor, and people insisting that I'm first lady. I'm married to him. You know what I mean? So it's like he wasn't pastor when I married him, all that kind of stuff. And then, to me, assigning in their minds different standards, which, when I read the Bible, there is those people who teach do have a higher standard and should not enter into that lightly, because they'll be held accountable.
Mhm.
But Christians in general have the same, standards, and everybody has the same Holy Spirit, all that kind of stuff. So I, personally and consciously decided that I would not, um, create a traditional
Mhm.
persona, or go to any of those kinds of things. Like, for example, my name is Althea. That's the, one of the names my parents gave me. And so when we meet people, that's how I introduce myself. I would not say I'm first lady,
Mhm.
whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that's me. And I'm not trying to uh, disparage anybody who that's because I know that gets it does things for some people, and amen to that for you.
Mhm.
But to me, it was a tradition, and not. I really didn't see how that was helpful.
Mhm.
And certainly wouldn't be helpful to me because it would be them trying to put something on me that I didn't really feel. Um, so I just tried to uh, see what the scripture said in terms about being real,
Mhm.
and made sure I was doing that. And when people would, if they said first lady and I was in the vicinity, I knew they were talking to me. But especially early on in meeting them, I would say, you may call me out there, you know. So, but if they weren't comfortable, then that's fine too. And that's just an example. Of course, it goes deeper than what people call you, but that does set a standard too.
Mhm. Mhm. I enjoyed the he wasn't a pastor when I married him, part in terms of your defining yourself and how you define your bond. Um, I think it's very interesting that, marriage is this thing that everybody says is like one thing, but I have learned from being married and from also growing up that marriage, just like names, just like whatever else, are what you call them, are how you make them. I guess what would be your top three things that make a successful marriage to you?
Um, I would say commitment, communication, and uh, a willingness to. Well, I guess I could put that in commitment. Okay, let's see. So I'm trying
Mhm.
to. And you know what? To me, what's interesting that I'm about what I'm saying now is that I didn't say love because I think that is kind of understood, but it's in the commitment.
Mhm.
Okay, so and then well, maybe I'll just stick with two: commitment and communication.
What is commitment to you in your definition? Because I know we all have definitions of words that we use. What's yours?
Yeah, yeah. Well, my definition is I get it from the Bible, which talks about a, a husband and wife cleaving, and so that till death do you part, commitment. So that means that there's no discussions of divorce, threatening this, da da da. I mean, the foundation is we are in this together. It's a lifelong commitment. That's what I mean, kind of thing.
Nice, nice. Well, I mean, I have experienced several different lives in my little bit of life.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can understand that being like a momentous commitment. What kind of mindset were you in when you decided to get married, and have you had to keep in order to like,
Stay married.
I mean, I'm about to be
What you
31,
mean?
so there's a lifetime within y'all lifetime together,
Ah,
so I,
yeah, that's hard to believe. I tell you,
I'm only 17.
you don't look it, so don't worry about it.
But like, yeah, really, what was the mindset that you had then, and then what have you had to keep in your mind to keep being present and committed?
Okay, well, keep in mind that when we got married, it was 1985. Okay, so uh, not only were shoulder pads in vogue, but 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 the I think it was like just about at that time the divorce rate was, you know, double digits and creeping up. And so people stayed married, you know, when I got married. So that was and that was the thing to do too. I mean, you know, it was you went to college, you got married, set up a household, had kids. I mean, so that was what you do.
Mhm.
And there was not in my household any thought of anything other than college. And then when I decided I wanted to go to med school, then that just really planned out the rest of those years, you know?
Mhm.
And so then my job was like, well, wait a minute. If I'm supposed to be married and have kids and I want to do this too, how am I going to fit that in? Well, um, God is gracious, and I was able to go to med school and at home in North Carolina. And
Mhm.
so I had help from my parents and my husband, whose job was a regular job, you know, was, you know, 8:30 to 5 or something like that, where he could come home. He didn't have to bring his work home or any of that kind of stuff when I needed to study and all of that. So even deciding, so like we're like, well, when, right? So even deciding there's not a good time. Everybody's talking about, oh well, there'll be a good time. You wait till after med school. Well, no, then you're getting ready to go into your residency, and you don't, you know. So then, well, after residency, then I'll be old, is what I was saying to myself. You know, I'll be too
Right.
old. You know, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, um, I'll just say that my route, even during that time, was not traditional in that I had one child while in medical school and you while in residency, and was still able to be young and youthful while you're 31 and or getting ready to be 31. And but it was all because I had help.
Mhm.
And that route was because that's what um we did. You know what I mean? That's what society, that's what my parents did. That's what they wanted for me. That's what was happening at my church. That's what, you know, I mean, you know, so that's just what we did. And I really, it's only been recently that I have thought that it's not necessary, depending upon what it is you want to do, to spend this amount of time. Well, and actually, the time is not the issue. It's really more the money, because I'm all for people getting education. And when we talk about college in particular, um, it was. Um, I want to find the right word, but like seminal. It was very important
Mhm.
in who I became because it let me be away from home and see that everybody didn't get raised the way I did.
Mhm.
It gave me appreciation for my home life and then exposure that there are other ways to do things, you
Mhm.
know, or to think about things and stuff. So, you know, I grew up in Durham, North Carolina, and um, you know, that's where North Carolina Mutual, so the Black Insurance Company was there. And so, in terms of image of being Black and being successful and stuff like that, it was like, yeah, right. It's not, you never took it for granted. You never felt less than, or, you know, any of that kind of stuff, because that legacy was there.
Mhm.
Um, but and going to college, I think just really broadened my horizons. And so I don't know, and I learned some stuff too. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I went to school, I learned how to study. I mean, but you know, all that kind of but the thing is, you know, today, and here we are with the virus, you know, do you get that from Zoom? Is it worth? So it was probably back then, I don't know. You put it all together and it might have been uh $20,000 altogether. But in, you know, and that's a lot of money.
Mhm.
So is it worth that money to just gain that experience? to gain that experience. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, the to me, the understanding that other people have been raised differently than you and they're okay, like that was a part of what helped my mind start shifting from the way that I took in what I was taught as a child. Because what I'm realizing also is people can teach you something and you can learn what you want. Like you can, you can be taught
like just because they teach it, you don't mean you right.
that
You don't
don't
catch it.
mean a thing.
That's right.
Because you could have caught the last part of that and put it with the first part of that in the wrong order, and that's what you learn. So it really, experience in and of itself, I feel like is a mind freer because anytime you have an experience, your mind then has an opportunity to assess. And anytime your mind has an opportunity to assess, that's a chance to think differently. That's a chance to take inventory on what you've been thinking or how you've been thinking or why you've been thinking. It is a chance. Of course, I, for a while, repeated the exact same thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I knew until I learned something different. And then I'm having to now compete different thoughts with old thoughts and stuff just to re up how I think, re up how I move. And so I definitely feel like, and I fought my parents. I'm just going to let y'all know. I was like, I don't want to be here. Let's go. Why? I just want to
4 years. No,
all 4 years, all 4 years, every single semester. Why am I here? I don't know why I do this. Um, but that was also a lesson for me in being present and taking advantage of the opportunities around me because I didn't go to a bad school. I went to Kennesaw State University. My parents were blessed enough to be able to support me in college. I didn't have to get a job. They told me I shouldn't get a job, just pay attention to school. Like I was in such a blessed bubble and didn't know it. But the experience of being able to be at a school and being able to go around and see new things and talk to different people, I definitely hands down would say that was what showed me life was made up and you can make it up. And also that life requires people, like it requires the being able to bring people together, being able to call people in, being able to motivate people, being able to push people, lift people. Like that's what life requires if you're going to do anything other than just your day, if you're going to implement anything in anybody else's day, if you're going to add something, you need people. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely am a support for education. I don't know if schools like colleges are going to be around eventually because who knows what's going to happen with the structure of our education system. But learning and constantly challenging your mind to grow and get better, hands down, the best thing. And if you pay for it, you will more than likely be a little more interested because you just put your skin in that game. So it's like,
right,
let me get something back for what I just exchanged. So
right.
I'm definitely loving this. In terms of you deciding I'm gonna be a doctor, because I remember you telling me stories about people like, don't you mean a nurse? And you're like, nah, bruh. I said what I said. I said what I said. How did you find that self courage to imagine something bigger than whatever other people could see for you? How did you find that courage?
I think a lot of it came from my upbringing. Some of what my mother did early on was give me a sense of you can do it. So, she was the one we were always making stuff at the different holidays. I'm cutting out shamrocks, you know, um, not Irish, right? But cutting out shamrocks.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But because she believed in making the home nice, and she believed that when you create, it does help your self-esteem in general. And so not only was she doing that for me, but my mom was doing it for the neighborhood. So all the little kids were at my house cutting out shamrocks. You know what I mean? That so I mean, and that's just an example. Of course, we did Valentine's, we took cards to people in the neighborhood, but she showed us we could make things, we could create. And so I think that was part of it. I could do it. And yeah, in the household there was a never, it was never like, do you think you could do that? That how people, when they love you and they're concerned about you, they get this furrow right here when you tell them something and they're like, am I hearing you right? Is that
Mhm.
so? It was never that, you know. at the house. And also keep in mind too that a lot of my growing up, my teachers um, were my parents' friends and church fellow church members and stuff like that. So even growing up, if you messed up, not only would you would hear it just be coming at you, all all different ways. So 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 that kind of helped us, stay focused. um I would say that there were programs uh at Carolina, where I went to med school, for minorities. So they had this program that was it's called the MED program, a medical educational development program. So it was a summer program, and you took, I think it was 8 weeks, and you took like condensed, just so you could see what it was like for the med school instruction. So you were on campus, you went in their same classrooms and stuff, same teachers were teaching, and you got an idea of, can I handle this? So that was really helpful. Um, but in general, and now when you tell people you're in the medical field, if you're a female, that's the first thing they don't. I mean, even now, even though now I think I heard the other day that almost that over 50% of med school applicants are now female. So we're making great strides. When I went, it was a third, and that was like, you know, right.
Right.
But now we're over half, so that's great.
I like it. Mommy, you leading the way,
How about that?
pushing down doors, kicking down things. Nurse who? Wow, I'm a
Look,
doctor.
look, and nicely with my pearls. I was like, because you don't have to be me. Oh, okay. So that's another thing. You asked about femininity. I think that, and this should be just a general person trait, but I think that kindness and um, those kinds of things are also considered more feminine than masculine traits.
Yeah, I am in agreement with you. It should be every human thing. Every
I
person.
agree. Yeah, I mean it should, but in general, I think if somebody, is super kind or whatever. But
It is more
yeah,
should.
you're right. It should be a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like a couple more questions before we gotta go because I got the free
Oh,
version.
right. I forgot. I forgot. Okay.
It's all right. I mean, I be checking the clock because I don't want to just go and we're done. And we're done. Um, but in terms of creating to build self-esteem, because I like that sentence that you spoke about grandma and what she kind of supported you with in terms of your development and it being creativity. I know for sure, I remember about grandma, her kindness and wanting to add something to other people's lives, like the flowers or like going to go check on people. That was her adding her love, her support, her light into other people's lives in a way like, we walked everywhere. We like, it was very, this is my life. This is what I do with my time. How did you understand creativity to build your self-esteem? Like how did you understand or did you understand how that worked and do you understand how that works now?
I don't think I understood it then. I just think, she was like, do this. And what kid doesn't like, scissors and glue and, all that kind of stuff. And you remember peeling the glue off it. So anyway, um, so that's one of my memories. So I don't think that I really realized at the time, but because when you come out with a project, you have done it. And so those, uh, the feelings, that dopamine from when you have done something, it wants to be reinforced. And as I've come to learn that I really believe that's in everybody. See, we're made in the image of God, and God is a creator. He loves variety. And I mean, you can see it. So when we do that, I think we are just showing off who we are innately when we create.
I like that. I feel like that's some good tea right there. You want to go ahead and get
Oh yeah.
I like. Oh. Mm, 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 mm. I'm telling you the reason why I want to have a show like Good Tea and Jam. I like it.
The
Not a
re-
day over fabulous.
okay, so now check this out. It's backwards for me, but you can see it right, right?
Yes, I can see it right.
Okay, that's weird. Anyway.
I like it. But in terms of just holding a space, because I don't know, one, if I was old enough in my mind while I was still in your house to have these conversations and gather the gems about being feminine my way. Like, I don't know if I had that when I was being raised by you, but definitely because I was paying more attention to daddy. I just was because in my growing up, I was like, why am I a woman if men run it? Like, what is the point? What is the point? If they get to say what goes on, why am I like this? Had to work through and process that and realize that really women run everything. We just let them think they run everything because if they didn't think they run everything, they'd be mad and they'd pout. So I get it. I understand it. But I think in terms of us really supporting each other in moving in the direction of claiming our own lives, because to be honest, if we keep if and this is my opinion, if we keep acting like this world is functioning correctly in the order and way that we've set it up, we're not going to change. And I
Mhm.
do think there has to be some shift in dynamic and power, because I do think women have an overarching idea of what would be helpful for those around them, for those who they support, for those in the world. Like, we there is a different, like, broader
Vision.
vision that we can have. And I feel like the more women can support other women in their visions, in their dreams, like, mommy, you are a redirected doctor who writes movies and who does Zumba fitness, and like, you are an incredible woman, and I just want to put you on my platform and say thank you for being you, because your freedom and your liberty in who you are, it sets us all free. And you make a new definition of what, like, life is. I mean, you are a doctor. You literally go in and do doctor things, but then on Saturdays you Zumba. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can be possible to be a wide range of awesome and be in one package, not a day over fabulous. So I appreciate you, mommy, for being you. I think the last question I would have is, if you could tell your younger self, one good piece of tea that could help her mind, that can help her soul, that can help her heart, what would you think that would be for you?
So I would tell her, um, always choose to do the right thing. Just don't debate it. Leave the results or what you believe would be the fallout up to God. But if you do what you know is the right thing, then other things will take care of themselves.
I like that. I like that so much.
I
Yeah.
think that's good tea, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's very good tea. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm sorry. I was digesting that tea. I was getting it into me. Because to be honest, like, to believe in your own right, I think is one of those, like, rite of passages. Like, if we write another movie, I would love to have like a coming of age story about learning how to feel for your insides, like feel for your own right, dealing with circumstances outside of yourself. But then, I mean, of course, True You, the movie, which is available on Amazon, um, is a story of that. She's a little older, but like, in terms of really trying to adjust to figuring out who you are as a person, I think that that's one of those stories that we don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? We say, who are you? We talk about what you look like. We don't talk about what defining factors you've created and cultivated within yourself.
Mhm.
So I am definitely with that. Okay, Zoom's giving us more minutes because it's 6:40 and we still on.
But I think that's because there are only two of us.
So sometimes they let us go.
No, so if it's less, if it's more than two,
It
then
cut.
you have the 40-minute thing. But if it's only two, then you can just go.
Oh, well, I've been cutting all my interviews short because I'm like, look, I do not want
Well, but that's probably helpful though.
just
You know
me
what
interview
I
like, yeah.
mean?
But I really appreciate it. And to be honest, mommy, I have loved learning you over these last few years. And I say few, but it's really been like last 7, 8. When I'm able to take a breath, breathe. I am a girl, and it's okay.
It is. It really is. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't want it any other way. It's yeah,
Probably
I know you know. You
yeah,
would.
yeah, right. As of now, I'm very glad, and I think having Kylan definitely made me more appreciative of being a woman and that journey. I don't know if I want to do it again, but the fact that I was able to be a healthy enough woman to bring a child into this world. I breastfed him for 16 months. That in and of my world was not a thing. I was like, I give him a good year, maybe. If 6 months it hurts, that kind of thing. But
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
just letting myself fall into whatever line of ladiness that I want to be, I think has been the most supportive over lately. And seeing you and how strong you've always been, I think has really helped me see where I get the non-traditionality of like how I identify with world, how I see visions that most people might not see for me, like or even my want to do 18 million things, you know what I'm saying? Because I get it honest, and I appreciate you for being who you are and showing me the success in so many things. I really appreciate that, Mommy.
Oh, thank you, Jessica. That's very sweet.
Yeah, well, hey everybody, this is my mommy. She is Dr. Althea McPhail. You can check her out on IG at Althea McPhail. And also you can check out her profile on McPhailStudios.com, as well as her movie, co-written by me, True You on Amazon Prime. This woman is not only amazing because she birthed me, but she's also amazing because she blazes her own trail and has set her own path. And I believe that that is the best tea in the world. All right. Well, yay. That was good, mommy. Thank you.
Thank you, sweetheart. I was running around. You should have seen me before the last few minutes, but
I woke up 5 minutes before.
oh,
I was like, do I got eyebrows on? Okay.
oh, that's good. That is good.
This is fun.
Okay,
Thank
so I told your daddy. You said February 5th, right?
Yes, February 5th. We'll be in town and we're getting there about 1:50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my plan is to wake up 5 o'clock our time. So it'll be like 8 o'clock Georgia time. Have us go through the day, have Kylan go through the day, and then he go to sleep at like 8:39 your time, since he had woken up and it would have been the full day. And that way, I hope it'll get him quicker into the thing because we're probably only gonna stay for like 2 weeks.
Okay. Are you staying here, or is Kashin coming, or
He's coming.
Kashin is coming? Okay.
We hadn't talked about where we're going to stay.
Okay. Okay.
Um, or anything like that, but I guess he might be more comfortable at his mom's house. Um, yeah, we hadn't really talked about where we're going to stay because I think we need to also plan what we're going to do. Like we need to talk to daddy about looking at houses and stuff while we're out here. We're going to be like driving around neighborhoods and stuff like that to kind of get a feel for where we want to live. And I got to be honest, I have to work a lot when I get back. I got 2 photo shoots set up. I'm going to be doing Bright Lights Live every day when I get back. Um,
Oh, Jessica,
is
I got somebody's at the door. I think. Wait a minute. Yeah.
that the wildlife people?
It is. How do you know about? Did I tell you
You
that?
told me. All right. Well, I'll see. Yeah, you told me
Okay. All right, but your dad is supposed to be there early. So your dad is supposed to be
at the studio. I thought it was at the house.
no, he's here.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. Are you getting the door? Okay, I hear it. All right, bye. He's getting it. Okay. All
Yes.
right. So, so I told him that you all were coming.
Okay.
So, you just need to let him know what exactly he said. He said townhouses and something else,
And
but
condos.
you all,
Yeah. We had changed to go back to those kind of homes to look at.
okay. He's calling me.
Okay. All right.
Like,
I'll talk to you soon.
okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
mommy.
Bye. Love
Bye.
you.
Love you too. Wasn't that an awesome episode of Good Tea and Jam? I am your host, Miss Jam Good, Jessica A. Ross, and I am so excited that you could join me today. I really believe that the good tea in life is what can help you be better, what can help your body love better, move better, feel better. And I'm telling you, the best tea of all is that you were made to be awesome. So go be awesome. I really believe that thoughts become things, and we are what we think. And that's some good tea, some jam good tea. I love you so very much, and I hope to see you soon.